He ragdolls the opponents around the cage as if they were weightless and treats the contenders like a USP loader treating your fragile package. Islam Makhachev is arguably the most dominant force in MMA today, who's hardly met any resistance, mopping the floor with everyone the UFC has put in front of him. In this video, we'll take a deep dive into Makhachev's career and how his Dagestani background and Khabib's mentorship made him the monster that he is, who had to overcome adversities to become the most dominant UFC champion today. Makhachev's unique background. Makhachev was born in Makhachev and grew up in the remote village of Burshi to a Lak family with a strong martial arts legacy. His dad and uncle were accomplished wrestlers, and his brother's making waves as a professional MMA fighter. In Dagestan, there's a strong belief that embracing wrestling is in the blood for healthy men. The environment in Dagestan can be tough and demanding, shaping individuals to be resilient by nature. Living amidst the high altitudes means adapting to thin mountain air, making every breath an exercise in strength and endurance. Being in this part of Russia transforms an average person into a powerhouse akin to an active climber. The challenges of the terrain build speed, agility, and strength, working out various muscle groups, including arms, back, shoulders, core, and legs. Living here isn't just about survival, it's about becoming a better, stronger version of yourself. Besides the obvious environmental factors, there's one fundamental aspect of Makhachev's life that shaped him into a force to be reckoned with, being raised and brought up with his close friend, Nurmagomedov. The relationship between Islam Makhachev and Khabib. Let's take a trip down memory lane to where Nurmagomedov and Makhachev's childhood. Growing up, they were neighbors and school buddies, only 3 years apart in age, and they both joined the American Kickboxing Academy together. Their friendship has blossomed into a truly brotherly bond over the years, with Nurmagomedov being a mentor to Makhachev. Much of Islam's MMA expertise can be traced back to Khabib's father, Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, who played a significant role in their lives. In fact, Khabib shares that his father always foresaw Islam Makhachev's success, saying, "When you're done, Islam will carry on." It's heartwarming to see Nurmagomedov always cheering for Makhachev from the sidelines during his fight. True camaraderie in the world of martial arts. Do you remember when Makhachev fought Dan Hooker? Islam got Hooker to side control where he could control him and implement his ground and pound, and then the New Zealander had no option but to fight on the enemy's territory. Islam tried going for a Kimura, but wasn't in the perfect position to complete this submission. If it wasn't for Khabib, maybe Makhachev could have got it done anyway, but perhaps he wouldn't have. Hooker is excellent in his submission defense, and if he escaped that submission, he could have potentially caused a threat to Islam on the feet. Thanks to Khabib's guidelines, his friend Islam could easily outclass the unlucky fella. When he got Hooker into Kimura, Khabib screamed at Islam, "Noga da golavi," which in Russian means leg above the head.
На голову правую ногу надо поставить. Правую ногу на голову. Да, да. Осторожно. Не спеши, осторожно.
Islam heard that and put his leg over Hooker's head, adjusting himself perfectly to execute the submission. Thanks to that, Hooker was given the option to tap or snap. This shows how significant Khabib is for his friend Islam mid-fight. However, Islam's journey to the top was not an easy mountain to climb. Seeing how dominant he is today, people forget that the Dagestani had to overcome heavy obstacles and adversaries to rise to the UFC's food chain, and here's why. Challenges and setbacks. Back in 2014, Islam Makhachev was undefeated as a pro with 11 confirmed kills on his resume, and when the UFC called, there's no second thoughts. On May 23, 2015, the Sambo specialist was welcomed to the big leagues by Leo Kuntz, a solid competitor with a 16-1 record who rarely leaves it to the judges' hands. The Dagestani prospect showcased the beauty of Russian Sambo with a beautiful throw that forced the opponent to continue on Makhachev's terms. Moments later, Islam demonstrated that his squeeze is as powerful as a boa constrictor, suffocating its prey by securing a beautiful rear naked choke submission. Just when it seemed that Makhachev would dominate his way to the top and follow Khabib's footsteps, he was met by an unexpected turn of events. In his next bout, he was scheduled to face Adriano Martins, a BJJ black belt and a UFC veteran with over 30 pro bouts on his record. As Islam threw a straight left, the Brazilian dodged the punch and intercepted it with a lead right hand that knocked the Russian out instantly. Makhachev tasted defeat for the first time. The question that remains was, will he be able to return after such a brutal knockout? Thanks to his discipline and support from his friend Khabib, the Sambo specialist was determined to take that loss as a learning experience, and like a Sanyan warrior, to return better than ever. dominance in the octagon. By training under coach Javier Mendes in AKA, Islam was able to develop a solid strike and defense, as well as an offense that could serve as a distraction before taking his opponent down and mauling them in his own domain. He was an elite wrestler with superior sambo and judo credentials, but now he was developing into a complete martial artist who is good on the feet as on the ground. Thanks to his grappling superiority, he could have taken the fight down at will by giving the opponent a free ride with Russian airline or executing takedowns with a sambo or judo throw from the clinch, besides becoming a complete fighter with no weakness in his game. He also developed a cardio off the limits. Islam Makhachev ragdolled his next two opponents to a one-sided unanimous decision victory. When he met Gleison Tibau next, he showed what training under a striking coach like Javier Mendes can do. As Tibau tried to close the distance, Makhachev delivered a Dan Henderson-style overhand bomb that knocked the Brazilian out of the shadow realm. The Sambo specialist sent a clear message to everyone that nobody is safe against him, no matter where the fight goes. He snatched Conjan Johnson's arm next and subjected Arman Surakayan and David Ramos to gravity shock treatment, scoring 2 subsequent decisive victories. He brought Drew Dauber and Thiago Moises to deep waters and in the later rounds drowned them with crowning submissions, showing how well-rounded of a fighter he had really become. After mopping the floor with Dan Hooker and demolishing Bobby Green, the Russian was now on a 10-fight winning streak and heavily knocking on the path to the title. The road to the title was tough, but winning the title was a high mountain to climb, and on top of that mountain was Charles Oliveira. Duke Bronx has made UFC history, securing numerous records. He boasted an incredible 16 submission wins, making him the record holder in the organization. Additionally, he topped the charts with an impressive 20 finishes and an outstanding 19 bonuses. Talk about an impressive track record. However, Islam Makhachev was a different kind of animal than any other opponent Oliveira had ever faced before. Islam respected Oliveira's skills and approached the fight with a lot of patience. For instance, when they were on the ground and Islam was in a strong position, Oliveira, a jiu-jitsu expert, tried to escape. Islam could have tried to maintain his dominant position, but he wisely sensed the danger and adjusted his strategy. On the other hand, Oliveira may have underestimated Islam's striking abilities, thinking he wasn't on the same level. He came into the fight with a strong offense, throwing kicks and punches without fully considering Makhachev's power. Oliveira went for an aggressive approach, trying to knock Islam out, and unfortunately, he got caught with a punch that led to his downfall. After securing a tight arm triangle choke, Duke Bronx wasn't ready to sleep early that night and ultimately tapped to prevent his world from going dark. The UFC lightweight division has a new champion, and his name is Islam Makhachev. Makhachev was on the hunt for the #1 pound-for-pound spot by challenging the Australian powerhouse, Alexander Volkanovski. In a back-and-forth action-packed and true slugfest, the Russian fighter emerged victorious again, edging the great on the judges' scorecards. Islam Makhachev's journey to becoming the most dominant UFC champion is a remarkable story of resilience, dedication, and unwavering friendship. From his humble beginnings in Dagestan to the pinnacle of the UFC, Makhachev's unique background and mentorship by Khabib Nurmagomedov has shaped him into the powerhouse that he is today. Thanks for tuning in to today's video featuring Islam Makhachev. If you had a blast watching this and want more awesome content like it, why not show some love with a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button? Join us on our journey to 1,000 subs. Remember, each subscription brings us one step closer to our goal. Let's do this together.